Zhang Yi listened to Zhu Zheng's analysis and nodded repeatedly. Of course, the main reason for doing so was to let the leader know that he agreed with what the leader had said. And Zhang Yi had already had this kind of idea for a long time. It started from that time, the battle against the mutants in Daze City. Nearly 1,000 Daze City troops, 72 mutants, and 800 elite soldiers, but they could not stop Zhang Yi's Void Spear. This is the form of warfare in the new era. Mutants will become the dominant force on the battlefield, surpassing even thermal weapons, second only to the Reaper of Love. That was the last shred of pride in the age of thermal weapons. Therefore, Zhu Jing placed his hands on the table and fixed his gaze on Zhang Yi's face. Our next revenge will be led by mutants, and by high-level mutants at that. I have decided to give you the initiative in the battlefield. Therefore, Zhang Yi, I hope you can lead the team on the next mission. The air suddenly fell silent. Zhang Yi remained silent. Bai Li Changqing looked at him in shock, his face full of disbelief. Surround and destroy Eclipse Moon, such a big matter, and it was actually to be handed over to Zhang Yi, a mutant from the outer city, to lead? Bai Li Changqing couldn't believe his ears. But now that he thought about it, Blizzard City had reached a stage where no one could be of use. The two major investigation teams had both been disabled and had lost their peak combat effectiveness. Zhang Yi, who had single-handedly killed 4 Eclipse Moons, had instead become the most suitable candidate. There was a certain irony in this. Zhang Yi did not speak because his mind had momentarily shut down. He knew that Zhu Jing would let him go to war, but he did not expect Zhu Jing to let him take the lead in the upcoming siege. This burden came a little too quickly and was very heavy. Zhang Yi was used to being lazy and did not like leading missions, especially with a group of unfamiliar people holding him back. I don't think I'm capable of shouldering such a significant responsibility. You'd better find someone else to do it. Blizzard City is full of talented people. Zhu Jing looked at him meaningfully. You're right. But you have a strength that no one else has. That is Eclipse Moon's greatest weakness. Zhang Yi looked at Zhu Jing and had a hunch. Before Zhang Yi could ask, Zhu Jing began to explain. Although we suffered heavy losses this time, we gained a lot of information in return. Not only did we learn more about the supernatural powers of the Eclipse Moon mutants, but we also figured out the most important person in their ranks. Zhu Jing placed his hands on the table and his gaze was cold. We've been thinking about it all wrong. Phoenix Rin is not the source of Eclipse Moon's power at all. Their source is the shamaness with the ability to prophesy, Mayumi Takeuchi. Zhang Yi, so that's really what's going on. Looks like I was right. Zhu Jing continued, we've figured out her abilities. He held up 2 fingers. First, she has some kind of prophetic ability that allows her to see into the future to a certain extent. Because of this, they can send the most appropriate person to deal with every one of our actions. This ability alone has weakened us by at least 30%. Even when we used the Reaper of Love, we were unable to eradicate them. Zhu Jing was still shaken by the launch of the Reaper of Love. He let out a long breath. You can't imagine, she anticipated what I was going to do, even before I had the thought. Zhang Yi's face showed little surprise. He had guessed these things too. After all, he was closer to the battlefield than anyone else. Bai Li Changqing, however, questioned this. But there is something that doesn't make sense. If she really could predict the future, then why did she let Zhang Yi kill 4 of her members? Zhu Jing said decisively, yes. You've hit the nail on the head. We've discovered that their actions have absolute initiative in almost all battlefields. But the appearance of one person has disrupted the other party's ability to predict. Zhu Jing gazed down at Zhang Yi with burning eyes, as if he had discovered a rare treasure. As long as Zhang Yi is around, her ability to predict will be invalidated. This is amazing. Zhang Yi, this is why I hope you can lead the team and take charge of this mission. Because only you can break our embarrassing situation. Disrupt the other person's ability to predict. Bai Li Changqing stared at Zhang Yi in disbelief. He was also baffled. Zhang Yi's ability was clearly space. But why was it able to interfere with Mayumi Takeuchi's predictions? He couldn't figure it out. Zhu Jing leaned down, his head close to Zhang Yi's, and asked seriously, Zhang Yi, at a time like this, I hope you can be honest with us. What methods did you use to break her ability to predict? Zhang Yi let out a long sigh and met Zhu Zheng's questioning eyes with clear eyes. I don't know. In fact, when I first started my mission, I sensed that something was wrong. I don't understand why I am special. This is a lie. In fact, Zhang Yi had already vaguely guessed the truth. The ability to predict the future, in other words, is a weapon of the law of cause and effect. It relies on a predetermined fate. However, Zhang Yi is a reincarnated soul. Although this may be related to Zhang Yi's undeveloped abilities, in the original timeline, Zhang Yi should have been a dead person, so his future could not be predicted. The space he is in has created a unique field. The ability to predict the future has lost its effect on him. Zhu Jing continued to tell Zhang Yi about his plan. The Eclipse Moon rebels must be wiped out. Only then will there be peace and happiness. Imagine you stay at home with your wife, eating hot pot and singing songs, when suddenly the Eclipse Moon group arrives. That's why the days without the Eclipse Moon rebels are the good days. Zhang Yi still didn't want to take on the responsibility. I still don't think I'm cut out for this. Please reconsider. It's fine if I fail, but the point is that I have let you down and disgraced the Jiangnan region and even all the Huaxu people. This is a great sin. Zhu Jing frowned and suddenly came to his senses. Zhang Yi was clearly not willing to take on the task until he saw the benefits. Of course he would not agree to take on such a big task without any benefits. Zhu Jing slammed his hand on the table. For this operation, I plan to integrate the remnants of the Heavenly God Squad with the Black Robe Squad. You will lead the team and form a new team. I've even thought of a name for it, the Tengu Squad. Zhang Yi's eyes went wide. Tengu? That's a great name. Zhu Jing continued, the Tengu eats the moon. The purpose of this team's existence is to completely eradicate the Eclipse Moon. He spoke so passionately that he slammed his hand down on the table. Then he pointed towards Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, you will be the captain of this team. In other words, congratulations, you can become the captain of the investigation squad directly. Zhang Yi was unmoved upon hearing this. He sighed and responded, but this doesn't appeal to me in the slightest. Bai Li Changqing's emotions were incredibly complex. Zhu Jing had even gone so far as to appoint Zhang Yi as the new captain without even asking his opinion. In other words, he had been the captain for less than a month and now he was gone. However, over this period of time, he had clearly felt that he did not have the strength to be the captain. And no one else had ever treated him as the captain. This was a very cruel and realistic world, and naturally people without strength would not be valued. However, compared to this matter, Bai Li Changqing was not surprised by Zhang Yi's attitude. He knew what Zhang Yi wanted. Zhu Zheng and his personal bodyguard behind him, Sun Luxuan, both looked surprised. Zhu Zheng asked, do you know what it means to be the captain of the investigation squad? In the entire Jiangnan region, the captain of the investigation squad is a being with great privileges. Apart from a small number of high-ranking officials, they have the greatest authority. If you become the captain of the investigation squad, you will have supreme power and prestige. You will be admired by everyone and become a hero. Zhang Yi's face showed no trace of emotion. He just smiled faintly and said nonchalantly, I don't want to be a hero. Fame and power aren't what I want either. I just want a stable life and plenty of physical and spiritual enjoyment. But I don't lack those things either. Sun Luxuan's eyes showed a look of astonishment, and as he looked at Zhang Yi, a sense of admiration welled up in his heart. Sun Luxuan smiled and nodded in silence. To be able to view fame and fortune with such indifference, this young man's character is truly rare. Zhu Jing also fell into a short silence. His hand was tapping on the table. If even these things don't matter to Zhang Yi, what else could possibly impress him? However, Zhang Yi took the initiative to speak. I still say the same thing, if I'm needed to help deal with Eclipse Moon, I definitely won't refuse. But don't make me captain. I prefer to work alone. I'll cooperate with you guys at most. And I'm not good at commanding. Zhang Yi hated bringing along a bunch of dead weight. In short, having dead weight around was very troublesome. So that's what you think? Zhu Jing took a deep breath. Zhang Yi didn't refuse to join the next encirclement and annihilation operation, which made Zhu Jing relatively satisfied. However, he didn't quite understand why young people nowadays were so laid back. Why was he unwilling to take the opportunity to get a promotion and a pay rise, and to make a name for himself, when he was clearly given those opportunities? Zhu Jing rubbed his stubbly chin. But at the moment, apart from you, there is no one else more suitable for the position. After all, he has to integrate the two major investigation teams, so the captain position is not for just anyone. The most important thing is that he has to be strong enough. Zhu Jing really didn't have a better candidate. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let a mutant from the outer city take the temporary position of captain of the Tengu squad. Zhang Yi smiled slightly. Anyway, you should think about this matter some more. I'm sure there will be someone more suitable than me for the position. The captain is the one who takes the blame. If anything goes wrong, everyone will come looking for you. Zhang Yi would never do it. Zhu Zheng's expression was a little conflicted, but after a moment's thought, he laughed and said, "Okay, I'll think about it. But if you're willing to join the Tengu, that's a good thing. You can go back and think about it too. If you change your mind, the position will be reserved for you at any time." Zhu Zheng's face wore the gentlest smile he could muster. This left Bai Li Changqing dumbfounded. Zhu Zheng, the tiger, who was always known for his authority, rarely showed such an expression to others. Even Deng Shintong was often scolded by Zhu Zheng for his lax attitude. Bai Li Changqing couldn't help but look at Zhang Yi. The expression on his bored face was faintly smiling, and apart from being a bit handsome, there was nothing special about him. But obviously, in Zhu Zheng's heart, his status was no longer the same. Zhang Yi leaned forward and suddenly said with a smile to Zhu Zheng, "So, Commander Zhu, if I'm to conquer the Eclipse Moon, does that mean I'll get unlimited supplies?" He wasn't going to work for nothing. It would be a bastard not to take advantage of a good deal. Blizzard City is a big family with a big business, and he has to take advantage of this opportunity to fleece the sheep. Moreover, he has 420 million points that he has not yet spent. He can't eat them, so he wants to spend them quickly. Zhu Jing smiled and said, "Of course you can. You can choose whatever weapons you like, just go ahead and take whatever you want." Ahem. At this moment, Sun Luxuan coughed behind him. Then he softly reminded Zhu Zheng, "Commander Zhu, he is a mutant with space abilities." Zhu Zheng's face tensed up, and he suddenly felt a chill down his back. Goodness, I almost spoke my mind and put the Blizzard City's belongings at risk. Cough, cough. You can make a list of the supplies. I will have someone deliver them to you. Zhang Yi let out a sigh when he saw that his plan had fallen through. Okay, that'll work. But we can talk about supplies later. I hope I can be equipped with the best equipment. Especially the black battle suits that fit snugly. I want a few more. The black battle suits had made a deep impression on Zhang Yi, and even without using his acceleration skill, they could enhance his physical capabilities. He was eager to get them. Zhu Jing asked curiously, "Do you want all those suits because you want to give them to your friends?" After becoming a member of the temporary investigation team Tengu, that kind of battle suit is definitely necessary. But Zhang Yi wasn't just thinking about himself. There are so many family members at home, and it would be best if everyone could have a suit. Zhang Yi nodded. "I should be able to get a set for myself, right? I'll use my points to redeem the rest. I wonder if that's okay?" Bai Li Changqing hurriedly reminded Zhang Yi, "Zhang Yi, those things are all the highest technical secrets of Blizzard City and cannot be circulated outside." Zhu Jing interrupted him, however. "Why not?" Bai Li Changqing was speechless. Zhu Jing stared at Zhang Yi with burning eyes. In order to avenge his previous humiliation and destroy Eclipse Moon this time, he could satisfy almost any condition of Zhang Yi. As long as the kid, who could break the opponent's law of cause and effect, was willing to join the Tengu squad. Zhu Jing was a soldier, but he was also a big shot with leadership skills. He knew how to win people's hearts and make them work for him wholeheartedly. A very crucial point was that he must not be stingy. He crossed his arms. It's just a few sets of battle armor, right? If you want to exchange them, just do whatever you want. After all, we're all on the same team. Zhang Yi quickly waved his hands. Hey, I'm just saying that I'll participate in this operation. But that doesn't mean I've agreed to join Blizzard City. I'm still used to staying in my own little nest. Zhu Jing smiled and said, that's easy to say, there's no rush to make a decision. The most critical thing right now is to solve the problem of Eclipse Moon. As long as Zhang Yi can help him get rid of Eclipse Moon, he will let Zhang Yi call him Big Brother. Well, if there's nothing else, may I leave first? Zhang Yi pointed his finger at the large doors behind him. He couldn't wait to exchange for some battle suits. The ones he had previously worn had been secretly lent to him by Li Changqing, and he had long since returned them. Now he wanted to hurry and get his own set. Zhu Jing nodded with a smile. Of course, wait a moment and let Li Changqing accompany you there. By the way, you will also meet a very special person today. Upon hearing this, Zhang Yi and Li Changqing both looked curiously at Zhu Jing. A very special person? How special? Zhang Yi couldn't help but become curious. Zhu Jing said with a serious expression, for this operation, we have learned from our previous experience. We will definitely no longer underestimate the strength of our opponents, but will fight with an absolutely superior force. Because of this, I contacted several other investigation teams that are currently on missions. Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed. Another investigation team is going to appear? Li Changqing swallowed hard. Which investigation team? Zhu Jing smiled faintly. The Reincarnation Squad.